Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Josh, and today we are back with my gorgeous white 39.5mm Omega Planet Ocean to do a 1-year follow-up to talk all about how this guy has worked for me over the past year on the wrist. And at this point, it's actually more like 15 months because I bought this back in January or February of 2021. So with that, let's get right into it. Now, for those of you who have been with me here on the channel and saw that original video, which I will link down in the description and put a card to, you guys know that I bought this because I had always wanted a white ceramic luxury diver in my core daily driver collection. And for those of you who saw the original video, you know that it wasn't even a question on which white diver to buy, because this one was truly one of my grail pieces. It was the one I had to have and lusted over for years on end before I was able to pull the trigger on it. And I can tell you right up front here, this is going to be a short video because there's really not much to say beyond the fact that I love it so much, and it absolutely is a lifetime piece and a permanent member of my daily driver collection, which again I have always felt needed a white watch for summer. And this was, without a doubt, my most worn watch for summer of 2021, and everything I thought it would do, it did absolutely perfectly. Because it's a classically styled diver in white, it really does match absolutely everything color and style-wise. It was the perfect way to dress up shorts, a t-shirt, and flip-flops, and it also brought a really nice sporty and casual balance to suits and sport coats as well. I even did this guy on a NATO with a matching light blue blazer a few times for brunches and summer evening dinners, and literally, you guys, it was perfection no matter what I paired it with. And again, you can leave it on its bracelet and leave it to be a really neutral piece, or you can put it on any kind of NATO you want and really add a pop of color to any ensemble that you might wear. Now, part of the reason that it got so much wear is because this is like the perfect size for me and my 6.75 inch or 17 centimeter wrist. This case is literally perfection for those with small to medium wrists. Now, even with that in mind, a lot of you have asked whether I feel like the case is too thick for comfortable wear day in and day out. And again, we've got a slightly thicker case here because the Planet Ocean is rated down to 600 meters of depth. And even though it is rated to such depths, I don't think that this is too thick at all. I was actually really surprised at how compact they were able to make this watch. It is tall, but it's not unmanageable in any way, and the super compact footprint really helps with that. Case in point, both this and the Black Bay GMT are 14.5 millimeters in height. And where the Black Bay and its super blocky case can feel really overwhelming at times, the Planet Ocean case is sculpted in all the right ways with, again, that really nice footprint, and it does balance perfectly well on the wrist. Put it another way, the new 300 Professional feels way bulkier on the wrist despite it being a millimeter thinner. It's all about the footprint here, and again, that footprint is absolute perfection. Now, with that said, I am comfortably past the honeymoon phase, and there are a few things that have sort of irked me on this watch that I hope Omega will improve upon in future iterations. But I'll tell you up front, they're really nitpicky and shouldn't put you off the watch in any way. They're just really observations and opinions from living with this thing on a daily basis for 12 months. First off, although the case is fabulous, the bracelet, to me, is overly thick. And that's not in terms of width, because the width here is actually perfect. It's the thickness of the links. They're short, which I like, but they're really thick, and they're not contoured to wrap around the wrist in any way, meaning that there's no curvature in the actual link itself that would create a curve to kind of hug your wrist. And so it makes the whole package feel a little bit bulkier and a little bit heavier than I think it really needs to be. And secondly, the clasp on this bracelet also feels overly large and has a significantly wider footprint than the bracelet itself. This is like almost 2 to 3 millimeters wider than the bracelet at any point. And that might be real nitpicky to mention, but the reason I bring it up is if we look at this next to the clasp on my 300 Professional, you can see that the clasp itself on the 300 sits perfectly flush with the profile of the bracelet, and on the bottom of your wrist in day-to-day wear, that actually makes a big difference in terms of comfort. Now, I'm guessing that this is like a generic Omega clasp that's probably shared with a bunch of other Planet Oceans or other models, and so I get why they didn't try to do that here, But again, the footprint of this watch is so much more compact that I really would have liked if they had just made a smaller clasp for this model. And I also feel like they have enough different 39mm models that they could have justified making a different clasp just for this bracelet size. Like, they did make a whole new bracelet for this watch, as you can tell. And so it just seems like they could have and should have made a different clasp for it as well. And if this was specifically made for this bracelet, like, come on, Omega, you guys know better than to do something like this. Now, you guys know if you've watched any of my other videos that I am really nitpicky about bracelets on my watches, and every time I complain about one, you guys always tell me to just throw it on a NATO and get over myself, and I do that from time to time, like you saw. But I like wearing my watches on their bracelets, and that's why I always buy the bracelet versions of these watches. And honestly, at this price, I don't think asking Omega to make a special clasp for this is out of line. Now, with all of that having been said, I do have to tell you, in all fairness, that just like all other Omegas, this bracelet and clasp are built like a tank. They're so solid, they feel so well engineered, and I have no complaints about build quality overall. This is a really nice bracelet to wear on the daily, and I have no concerns about it lasting the test of time. I've also not had any issues with the 8800 caliber movement inside. It is a real workhorse, and I love being able to see it through the case back. The few times that I have measured accuracy, it has been bang on to COSC spec, and I wouldn't expect anything less from it. The only downside here is that this is a modern Swatch Group product, and so it does beat at 3.5 Hz or 25,200 beats per hour instead of 4 Hz. And while that doesn't bother me one bit, I don't understand why they dropped the beat rate, because the power reserve here is only 50 some odd hours, which is not all that more than your standard like 38 or 40 that you would get from a 4 Hz movement. And I'm actually really curious here. Am I the only one who literally could not care less about power reserve? Like, winding and setting the watch after it's died takes all of 30 seconds, so I just don't really understand that. And just because I can't leave well enough alone, I'll also add that Grand Seiko's new 9S A5 High Beat has an 80-hour power reserve at 36,000 beats per hour. So yeah, I'm just going to leave that there. And despite everything I've said here, honestly, I'm really happy with this watch. It has passed the 1-year real-world assessment with flying colors. It is absolutely the perfect watch, the perfect white watch for me. It will be with me forever. And I would highly urge any of you who think it might work for you to go into a boutique and check it out. I know some people get thrown by the 39.5mm dimension, but you guys, it is perfection. Literal perfection for someone, again, with smaller or medium-sized wrists. So that's about it on my Planet Ocean 1 year in. Thank you guys as always so much for watching. Leave any questions and comments downstairs. I hope it's warming up for you wherever you are so that you can start wearing watches like this again. We will talk again real soon, and take care.